Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1785 Britton Street here in West Lynn. We're located at we're kind of on the, I guess this is the back. If you're standing in the roadway looking at kind of the front French doors, we're on the back side, kind of about the back right corner, in between the master bedroom and the garage, I believe anyway. So we've got a 4-inch ABS clean out. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We're going to introduce some water here in just a moment. We do have standing water right at the bottom of the clean out. We'll assess that at the end when we'll run the camera backwards and see how far that belly persists for. But we do have some buildup in the sewer line, at least some, not gargantuan amounts, but especially when I first put the camera into here, the water was not draining off as nicely as I was hoping it would. So immediately upon access, we get into clay pipe, and that right there is a root intrusion coming through there. And so I hate to focus on this part of the line, but that spot there it looks like also has a root. If you look up top above the human waste there is a root intrusion coming through that. That's why that's stopping up. So those spots there I will recommend repairs on. And it looks like we transitioned immediately over to 4-inch clay pipe. Now we transition, well, that might still be clay. It almost looks like ABS. Still got kind of a reddish hue to it. That still is clay there. Scratch that. Now, some of this stuff is kind of hard. This may actually be ABS in a spot repair. As I approach this next section of pipe here, you can see how the color changes. There's almost a reddish hue, and that might be a reflection potentially off the clay pipe. That almost looks like an ABS spot repair. It's kind of hard to tell, because the color is very similar throughout. You've got a reddish hue to a lot of this. We've gone past a few joints here so far, past the, yeah, you got roots coming through that joint too. Some of these almost look like they've been cut. Yeah, like all these, that stuff you're seeing, we'll have a better view as we come back. But those are roots coming through there. And they all seem to be on the shorter side here. It almost looks like someone's run a jetter or cutting instrument through here and removed and cut the roots back. So now we're definitely into ABS plastic pipe here at 60 feet. Going through some standing water here. That belly's fairly minor. We'll take another look at the end. More roots there. Then right here we transition over to what appears to be concrete, and I think this is where we're going to have to stop here. There's major root intrusion in this area that's stopping my camera. Yeah, we're going to go locate and see where we're at. We're probably getting fairly close to the main. Alright, where we're at currently, appears we're at the main lateral connection. There is a manhole on the far side of the street. I believe it's out on Britton Street here. The line wraps around. I can't figure out which side of the house is the front, but I'm going off of looking at the French doors off of Britton Street as the front of the house. The line wraps around the right side of the home, heads out to the street, and right now where this is at, we're sitting just a foot or so to the left of a manhole. So we've got to be pretty much at the main. If not, we stop maybe a foot or so short of that. That I obviously recommend a repair there to fix all that. That might be city responsibility, potentially. I would contact the city. But at this rate, I'm recommending a full update. You've got root intrusions through nearly every joint in the sewer line, about every other joint, something like that, overall. And when a line gets to this age, I generally don't recommend spot repairing it any longer. I recommend just full updates. And your furthest out root intrusion, for the exception of the one at the main, is out here at 72 feet. So if you know, the last half of the line had no roots in it, I'd be more apt to recommend just to spot repair the first part of it. But at this rate, they stretch almost all the way out to the, and they do go to the main. I just don't know if the street portion of the sewer line is actually the homeowner's responsibility or the city's. I would look into that. And I'm going to do markings here about every 15 feet or so. About 6 feet deep at the main lateral connection. And based on, if we end up with a line that pretty much drains out properly, this is one you may want to look into an epoxy liner system for, which is trenchless. See which is more cost effective. But however it's done, I recommend this entire line be updated. And then when we get back to the clean out, we'll flip around and run backwards into the house. All right, right now we're right at the street edge, about a foot or so out into the road. It looks like someone installed a secondary cleanout. It's going to be right here, I think, in this ABS or PVC portion of the line. And part of the reason why I would recommend this all be updated too, you can swap the piece of pipe out here. By the time you're all said and done, I would ideally like to see the whole line replaced, even the stuff that's already been done, so you can get grade proper. But joints like this one up here where the plastic meets the clay pipe, these are the #1 joint to get roots through them. They don't seal up as nicely. So in time, it's very likely that roots will find their way through this pipe joint here. Versus a plastic to plastic joint, they hold up a lot better. But the belly that's here is very insignificant. The repair guys might just get a better slope and grade situation if they redo all of it. But what's here is very, very minor. The belly dissipates out here at about 68 feet. And at its worst point, we're not even quite up to a 1/4 inch of standing water. I don't even consider repairs on bellies in plastic pipe like this until you've got at least an inch of water for around 5 to 10 feet, with buildup on top of that, though, to make a case for why a repair should even be done. To back up from 63 feet away with this much standing water, you'd have to be flushing some crazy stuff down the sewer line. And by that I mean it would take items that you should not put down your sewer line to clog this area here. But you're under a 1/4 inch of standing water there, which in the world of bellies is extremely minor. I think someone put a clean out in. It's right out here. I don't know if it was for the purposes of drain cleaning, to clear the roots out of the sewer line so the line function proper again. That's kind of my guess. All right, we're on the yard side of the fence now. Over in kind of we're about 10 feet or so from the fence line. And right around 5 feet deep there, 5 foot to 5'3". That root right there broke a hole right through the pipe. That one didn't even come through a joint. That just broke through the clay. And if you do the liner system and decide to do that, line the entirety of it, not just the transition, or I'm sorry, just the clay portions of it. I'd like to see that liner taken all the way through if you go that route. The reason for that is you want to overlap those transition joints where plastic meets up with clay to make sure you seal those off. Those are joints that I can guarantee you in time roots will penetrate back through them. They're just the weakest point in the sewer line. Around 4'7" deep there. getting closer to around 3.5 feet deep here. I think this line, the way that the locates are taking me here, it almost looks like a portion of this sewer line goes back underneath this kind of, I don't know if it's an add-on back here. I'll show it with the camera when I pull it out. And yes, it does go underneath a corner of the house here. So the line comes out from the home, turns, and it goes right back underneath a portion of it, and then pops back out right around 18 feet or so. Now, and a lot of this stuff out here right near where the cleanout is under, there's decorative brick here, and I don't like painting people's pavers in brick because it can last a while. So that portion of it there will be up to the repair guys to locate. I'll try and get one more just out from the cleanout here, but as it passes underneath the house, if they need locates, they'll have to do that one on their own. Alrighty, that's the last one locate we're going to do there. You got a root right there right out of the gate, and another one right as we pop out of the water. So we're going to flip the camera around here. We're now going backwards underneath the home. So and this stuff under the house here looks like it's draining well. I would recommend, though, that everything from the clean-out access, if not from the foundation wall, I'd like to see all that standing water out of the line, especially when it's that close to the house. Bellies don't concern me like that one we saw out around 60 feet. You'd have to flush a pair of shoes down the toilet to clog that spot there. It is of no concern. But when you've got standing water right up close to the home, right when we drop the camera into here, we had buildup, and part of that is going to be due to the roots, but I'd like to see as much of this standing water cleared out of here as possible when the repair is done. But pretty much everything that we're looking at repairs on here is on the exterior. My camera head is, right where this belly dissipates out, is roughly 10 inches to a foot prior to the clean out or going back towards the home. So everything on the exterior and possibly just a little bit under the house I'd like to see completely updated. You've got major root intrusion throughout the entire sewer line. It's about every other joint, all said and done. Your depths here are ranging between around 2.5 feet out to around 6 feet by the time you hit the main. So this clean out comes out, and this white line here is my paint marking. Someone else has put some paint there on that tree. I don't think the line actually turns and does that. I'm picking my locate up over here. The line comes out here, it turns, and it goes underneath the corner of that building and then pops out the other side. So you get about 10-15 feet, roughly, of pipe underneath the house. After any repair work is done, I highly recommend rescoping the sewer line to check the work. If you were to do the liner, I'd like to see this belly here next to the house fixed, and the rest of it could be lined. Especially when you go under a home like that, that could be a nice way to save some money and not having to go cut through a floor or something of that nature to get to that portion of the sewer line.